Welcome back to Inside Texoma once again. Holiday spending and hopefully holiday saving is what we are chatting about today. And a lot of people still have a lot of shopping left to do, so you're giving us some great advice. Now, you had mentioned a little bit about the credit cards, and when do we really need to pay those off if we're doing our best to use it almost as a debit card?
Well, if you have charged on your credit card and you get your bill in the mail, I want you to open it that day and pay it that day. Now, the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, who I work for, helps about 3 million people a year. We have an astounding number of people who walk into our offices for help with a grocery sack filled with unopened bills. Now, that is no way to be financially responsible. So, don't just, I talked about burying your head in that financial sand. Don't be one of those people, or I'm going to talk about you on TV someday. And so open your bill when it arrives and pay it that day. Now, why am I saying pay it that day?
Sure.
Because according to the CARD Act, which is new legislation enacted in 2010, the issuer gives you 21 days from the day the statement leaves their office until your due date. That means the day the payment's due back at their office. So if you're using snail mail, then, and we are always advised to allow 7 to 10 days for snail mail. It was mailed to you on day 1. It could get to you on day 10, 7 to 10 days. Well, you need that same 7 to 10 days for it to get back to them. So you need to pay that bill the day it comes. There's nothing good about paying a bill late. Here's why. You're going to get a late fee tacked on to an already existing balance likely, and you're going to get a late mark on your credit report. Now let's go back to that all-important credit score. The credit score is based on all the information in your credit report. You know, people chase that credit score left and right all over the place. Some people are maniacal about having a higher credit score. What they forget to do is check their credit report. You can get your credit report free of charge at annualcreditreport.com. The NFCC conducts an annual financial literacy survey each year. It showed that in spite of the credit report being free, 65% of respondents had not ordered their credit report. So get your credit report, check it for accuracy, make sure that if there are any discrepancies that you dispute those, make sure it's about you and only you, because that credit report is impacting your credit score.
And there's actually 3 different ones, so you can break it up throughout the year too, correct?
Perfect, absolutely. The law reads that you can get 1 free credit report every 12 months from each of the major bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So just start with 1 right now, wait 4 months, get another, wait another 4 months, etc. This is keeping an eye out for identity theft too. So stagger your request. Is just a good thing for all of us to do. If you have a major purchase in front of you, you're going to buy a home, etc., then get all 3 of them at once, because you want to know as much about you as the person sitting across the desk knows.
Absolutely. And that's important because they could have different things, correct? You've taught us that over time, that maybe one person doesn't report it to this one, or the other reports it to all 3.
Exactly. Merchants have to be a member of the credit bureau, and so there could be small differences, but those small differences could make a big difference.
Sure, absolutely. Great advice. Now, kind of going back to the beginning of the show when we were talking about Black Friday, you know, it's so easy to get caught up, Gail, in the moment and those sales and getting the best deal and just the excitement. It's a lot of fun with all those people. So, what do you do if you overspent?
Okay, if you lost it, you were one of those emotional spenders on Friday. For one thing, I said keep your receipts. You could repair the damage right away. But if you fell in love with that and you found the perfect, you know, sweater for so-and-so, then, and you want to keep that, then you are simply going to have to cut back somewhere else. There are only 2 answers to getting out of debt: increase income or decrease spending. You know, so many people do not track their spending. We work very hard for our money and then we spend it very casually. So the tail's really wagging the dog until you're in charge of your spending. So I would say track your spending for 30 days. See where your money goes. It's marching out the door. It's going somewhere. So you might as well follow it, know where it goes. Only then can you look at it and create a budget. You know, a lot of people think budget's 4-letter word. Call it a spending plan if you must. That's right for you. And I always advise people to cut back rather than cutting out, because you're not adjusting your behavior so much, so dramatically. So find some money over here. Here's another thing. What if you could carve $10 out of 15 spending categories? Would you ever miss $10 out of your clothes budget? Would you miss $10 out of your grocery budget? Of course not. Now, you have some fixed expenses.
Sure.
You can't adjust your mortgage payment or your car payment. So let's cut that back. $10 in 10 categories. You have an extra $100 a month to throw toward that financial hole you just dug. So that's one way to find money. And another, if you dug really deeply, is you're going to have to get a part-time job. And people say, Gail, that's too burdensome. Let me tell you something, debt's burdensome.
Yeah.
So you can do anything for a little while. Get a part-time job, dedicate every paycheck to paying down debt, get out of debt as quickly as you can.
Because it's not forever. Once you're out of debt, then you don't have to have that.
Absolutely.
concern.
You know, I'll give you some rough figures here, but so don't hold me to them exactly, but you'll get the point. If you owed $10,000, let's say, and you had maybe 18% credit card that you charged that $10,000 on, and your minimum payment is 2% a month. A lot of people think that they're staying on top of things by just paying their minimum each month. Remember when I said pay your credit card statement the day it comes? In a perfect world, you'd be paying that balance in full. But let's say you can't, and you're just paying 2% a month. You never get a late fee, you never get an over limit fee, but you go, you know what? This is a huge bill, and I'm looking around my house, and I don't think I have anything to show for it. I'm never going to charge on that card again. Ashley, you'll be my age before it gets paid off, and you don't want that. Honestly, it'll take 40 some odd years to pay off that $10,000 debt with no charges added.
I mean, it's not, you don't even want the product anymore by then.
That product is long gone.
Wow.
You don't want your debt to outlive
what you're buying.
Exactly.
Oh, yes, that's great advice. So do you start saving for things that and pay for it in full immediately then, whether it's cash or paying it off that month then?
You know that every time we've been involved with someone or read a study about paying with cash, just across the board, people save 20%. And here's what's really neat. On top of that 20% that you're saving each month, they tell us they don't notice it. Now, how can that be possible? I think it's because you have an increased awareness of your spending. Instead of going up and down the aisle and thinking, oh, that's cute, and throwing it in the buggy, just mindlessly, that little voice in your head says, now, Gail, you're going to have to pay for that in cash when you get up there to the checkout counter. And that is more painful. Cash is more painful. Parting with cash is more painful than parting with plastic.
That is so true. It makes it real. You're letting them go. So
yes, when you always hear the story of children who are begging for something at the store and mother says, I don't have the money, and the child says, just charge it.
Yeah.
See, the child doesn't associate money with plastic, and that's the merchants and the retailers and the card issuers have been very successful convincing us that there's a separation there too.
Yeah, they have been successful.
Yes,
I think a lot of people are fooled by that.
Heads are nodding out there this morning.
Absolutely. Well, we need to take another quick break, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, talking about holiday spending, holiday shopping, and hoping to do a lot of saving this holiday season. And, you know, Gail, you had mentioned a little bit about spending cash, and of course, it's easier to have that cash on hand so you don't spend as much, but it's such a concern, you know, especially nowadays if you're robbed or you lose it or you drop it or something. So what's your advice on that?
I totally agree, and I would never recommend that anybody carry large amounts of cash on them, because that's putting you at risk personally and financially. So I don't want you to do that. But you can make frequent trips to the ATM machine. And that brings me to something else. When people are out shopping, be aware. Just put that radar up. You know, in crowds, you're going to be distracted. You're thinking about something else. There may be a long line behind you when you're paying. I even know a lady who left her wallet on the counter. She was so worried and hurrying because the line was so long, and she didn't want to inconvenience anyone. Of course, she went back and it was gone. Before you leave home, take all the credit cards out of your wallet that you're not going to use that day. And that, what have we done right there? That one simple step minimizes our loss.
Oh, yeah.
If you lose your wallet or it gets stolen. Also, everyone should take all their credit cards, put them face down on the copier, turn them over, make another copy. That way, if you lose your wallet, you know which cards you had and the 800 number for you to call and report it. It's really going to be a valuable tool to you. And of course, keep that at home under lock and key or in your safe deposit box, somewhere like that, because that's valuable information. Also, when you go to that ATM machine, check it out first. Make sure there's no one lurking around, and if they are, then report it, for instance, to mall security or wherever you are, and examine the machine itself. Unfortunately, the thieves always stay a step ahead of us, and they have created little devices that they can put on that machine that can record your account number and that PIN number.
That's scary.
Now, debit cards are a great tool because when the money's gone, the spending has to stop. But debit cards don't come with all the protections that credit cards do. I want you to be very, very hyper careful with your debit card because someone could withdraw all the money from your account. Now, you'll probably end up okay. You probably will get that money back, but getting from point A to point B could be very painful. It could take a long time, maybe rent's due tomorrow. You don't have that long time to wait, so be very careful.
Do you recommend then, is that where it goes back to a credit card for your spending instead of your debit card?
Possibly so, and credit cards come with some other advantages too, some other protections that if you get home and it's damaged, or even if you order something online and it comes to you damaged, then there'll be some protections there. And I think people should call their credit card companies and ask about different perks that come with their cards. There are a lot of those that we aren't aware of. Debit cards are great, very useful tool, but you've got to be careful.
Absolutely. And once again, what was that website that we can go to read much more about the credit cards?
You can go to creditcards.com or bankrate.com is another good one.
Okay, so check those out too. Like she said, a little bit of homework to do, but it's going to pay off in the end. Now, one last thing, of course, was shopping at home. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but how important is that to really getting the best deal?
Well, you can find coupons, and you can shop also your ads. You know, the newspaper's going to be filled with ads when we get it for the next month. And check those out, too, to find the best deal before you leave home. Why in the world would you want to drive to all those different stores, find a parking spot, waste your gas, fight the crowds, when store A may not have as good a deal on the very same identical product as store B? So, of course, shop from home locally. I encourage everyone to spend their money locally. I think that's a fine idea, but we all want to be smart shoppers too, so you might as well get the best deal by shopping from home. Go online for that store, read their ads online.
Absolutely, and some of them nowadays you can even check to see if the product is in stock at that store.
Isn't
I know
that
I've done
cool?
that a couple of times, so you don't even go there and waste your time and look around and then they're sold out.
Absolutely, be disappointed.
Yeah, and you run into that a lot this time of the year, of course, too. Everybody's getting it. So.
My daughter, for instance, coupons a lot, and she wouldn't dare go to the store without a coupon. So check for, the manufacturer's site.
Yeah, and there's a lot of those this time of the year. They want you to come in their stores, so take advantage.
That's right.
Well, Gail, thank you so much for taking time to be here and sharing all of this insight. We always appreciate you coming on, and I learn something every single time, so thank you so much.
I love being here, and I hope the audience learns and has just a wonderful holiday.
Absolutely. We want to say thank you so much for joining us, Texoma. Remember, you can find the very latest at newschannel6now.com. You can watch this entire program again as well. There's even a link that we're going to put on our website for you. So we hope you have a great week, and we'll see you back here next Sunday morning for another look inside Texoma.